Once upon a time, on a remote mountain, a lone traveler was walking along a trail. He was carrying a big, heavy load on his back. He was a salt peddler, backpacking salt from village to village, from door to door. Though he was in his 30s, he looked twice as his age. The sun was completely gone and there was no human dwelling near the trail. The salt peddler was hungry, tired, and scared. Then, all of a sudden, he saw a faint glimmer of light. It was a hunter's shabby hut. He was running into the house, shouting happily, "Hello, hello, anybody home?" A woman in her 30s appeared at the door. "Who are you at such a late hour?" "Oh, I'm so sorry for bothering you. Could you please let me stay the night here?" But the woman hesitated. Then she said, "My husband isn't back from the market. Did you happen to see anybody on the road?" "No, I saw neither man nor a beast." "Oh, well, then please come in." The salt peddler followed the woman into a small room. He couldn't stay outside until her husband returned. Soon the woman brought some boiled potatoes. "Oh, you must be starved. Help yourself." So the salt peddler, after finishing all the potatoes, he was so sleepy, but he tried not to sleep. He struggled. Then he fell asleep and snoring loudly. The young woman, she huddled into the corner of the small room and became more and more anxious about her husband. Then she went over to the peddler and shook him. "Wake up, sir! Please wake up!" The peddler awoke and was embarrassed. In that small room, only the young woman and him. Then the woman said, "Oh, I'm so sorry to disturb you, but my husband isn't back yet. Oh, I've heard tigers are especially rampant these days. I'm afraid something dreadful has happened to him. We must go out to search him." The peddler was grumbled, and even at the mention of tigers, he said, "Oh, what can we do in the dead of night? We can't see a thing. Let's wait till daybreak, then I will help you." The woman said, "By then, only his bones will be left. Poor husband. We must go right now." So the salt peddler reluctantly followed her. Then she gave him an axe and lit a torch for herself. "Follow me." After wandering around some time through the forest, up and down the mountain woods, they saw a piece of cloth soaked with blood on a branch of a tree. But she realized it was her husband's clothes. She turned pale, gritted her teeth. She just gripped the clothes tightly. It was obvious her husband had been attacked by a tiger. They followed the bloody trail for a while when suddenly the peddler gasped at the two fierce eyes of a tiger glaring at him. Blood was still fresh on its mouth, and under his paws sprawled a mauled body of a man. Oh, the woman looked down at her husband and stepped up to the tiger. Already the axe was gripped in her hands, and her eyes ablaze. You wretched brute, you are not going to fatten yourself on my husband's flesh, never! And with a shrill cry, she whacked the tiger between the eyes with her axe. Yeah! Kum! The huge tiger dropped dead, just like that. The woman collected what remained of her husband. Tears streamed down on her face, and she said to the peddler, "We have to take him home. Will you follow me with the torch, or do you want to go with this body?" The peddler fidgeted a while. Then he shouldered the corpse of the man and walked ahead. When they arrived at the house, the woman laid the body of her husband in the room. Then she went out to the yard again and began to sharpen her axe until the blade gleamed cold and sharp. The peddler was frightened and said, "Oh, what are you going to do with that axe? The tiger's dead." But the woman said, "For the same reason I walked behind you with the torch. I know the tiger I killed was a male, and its mate will surely get revenge. I know a woman's heart works the same way. It's not over till one of us is dead." Towards daybreak, with a furious roar, the tigress appeared at the house. Its roar scared the peddler out of his wits, and while the man was shrinking back, the woman stepped. She'd been waiting for all night this moment. She stepped out into the yard, and her gleaming axe gripped in her hand. The eyes of the woman and the tiger clashed. Neither one showed a second thought. The tiger beat the earth and howled, and the woman sidestepped. The blade of the woman's axe glinted gold in the rising sun. Then she suddenly let out a fierce yell and whacked the tiger with her axe. The tigress dropped dead. The woman threw away her axe and gazed down at the tigress. Then she lifted her eyes to heaven and wept her heart out. "Husband!" The salt peddler didn't want to witness any more of these gruesome scenes. He hurried to leave. Then the woman stopped him and said, "Thank you for helping me to avenge my husband." And she went into the room and brought out some dried animal skin and herb and some coins. She gave it to him and said, "Thank you. When we came into this mountain with my husband, we promised to each other, live together and die together. Now I can see him without shame. Thank you. And the peddler take her gifts and departed. When he reached the top of the mountain, he wanted to one last look back the house. He saw the woman at that moment setting fire to her house and walked into the room where she had laid her husband's body. Then the next moment, the flame engulfed the house. The salt peddler was shocked and almost collapsed. He murmured, "What a woman! What a tiger!" 나무 아미타불 관세음보살. Then she departed for his next journey.